Chosen one. Listen carefully. Heaven has interrupted this very moment to reach you. This is not random, not coincidence. This is a divine appointment. God is guiding your steps toward breakthrough. And even the storms that tried to stop you will become the very winds that carry you forward. You know the weight you have carried. The late nights when your thoughts were too heavy to silence. The mornings when you rose, still weary, yet still pushing forward. You have been through battles that most people cannot even imagine. But you are still here. That alone is proof. God's hand has been on you the entire time. Think of an ancient key, rusted and forgotten in a drawer. To many, it looks useless, outdated, a piece of metal without purpose. But when the right door is found, that key suddenly becomes priceless, unlocking something no other key can open. That is you. The very experiences that seemed wasted, the tears that seemed pointless, the waiting that seemed endless, all of it is the shaping of the key. And now, heaven is bringing you to the door it was made for. There was once a chosen one who waited through a silent season. They prayed, but answers seemed far. They worked, but results seemed hidden. People thought nothing was happening. Yet in that unseen time, God was crafting alignment. When the breakthrough came, it wasn't small, it was sudden and undeniable. What had been locked for years opened in a single moment. Their story is a mirror of what God is preparing in you. The Word of God declares in the book of Micah, chapter 7, verse 8, "Do not gloat over me, my enemy. Though I have fallen, I will rise. Though I sit in darkness, the Lord will be my light." Hear this. Your enemies thought the fall was your end. But they were wrong. The darkness believed it swallowed you. But it miscalculated. You are rising. God Himself is lighting the path ahead of you. Chosen one. Don't let shame from past mistakes silence you. Don't let rejection convince you that you are less. Don't let delay trick you into believing that God has forgotten. Every fall has been fuel for your rise. Every valley has been preparation for your mountain. And every whisper of doubt is about to be silenced by the roar of God's breakthrough over your life. This message itself is proof that heaven has not overlooked you. You are being guided. Every step you take now is under divine orchestration. The doors that were once closed are loosening. The opportunities that seemed impossible are aligning. Your story is not over. It is only shifting into its next chapter. If these words strike a chord in your spirit, don't just read and move on. Respond. Let heaven see your agreement. Like, share, and subscribe, so this word continues to reach others who need it just as much as you. And in the comments, declare by faith the prophetic number 777, a sign of completion and divine alignment, announcing, "My breakthrough is being guided by God." Now, and as you do, believe this deeply, your simple act of faith echoes beyond the screen. It becomes a prophetic signal, a light rising in unseen realms, a declaration that your waiting has purpose, your journey has meaning, and your breakthrough has already begun. Chosen one. The weight you carried has not gone unnoticed. Every hidden tear, every sleepless night, every silent sigh has been counted by heaven. What others dismissed, God recorded. What others overlooked, He treasured. The truth is this: the very pain you thought would crush you has been shaping you for the promise you are now stepping into. You see, the world often measures strength by what is visible: titles, achievements, recognition. But heaven measures strength by what you endured in secret. The moments you chose to forgive when you had every reason to hate. The nights you prayed for those who wounded you. The hours you stood alone because truth mattered more than approval. That is the weight you carried. And while people thought it made you weak, heaven has called it proof of your calling. Picture a clay jar placed into the fire. At first, it is soft, moldable, without shape. But when the flames press against it, something shifts. What was fragile becomes firm. What was shapeless gains purpose. The fire doesn't destroy it, it perfects it. That has been your story. The flames you feared were the very tools God used to harden your resilience, to solidify your faith, to make you unshakable. There was a chosen one who walked through years of misunderstanding. People looked at their struggle and assumed it was failure. Friends left. Family doubted. Even their own heart whispered that maybe God had forgotten. But every tear shed was watering the soil of the future. And in the right time, what sprouted shocked everyone around them. The very pain that was mocked became the testimony that lifted others. This is not just their story, it is yours unfolding. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Jeremiah. Chapter 31, verse 16. Restrain your voice from weeping and your eyes from tears, for your work will be rewarded, declares the Lord. What a promise! Not a single sacrifice has gone unseen. Not a single labor has been wasted. God has woven every disappointment into a greater design. And the reward? It is not just material. It is peace. It is restoration. It is honor where shame once lived. Chosen one. You have carried weight that could have broken anyone else. And perhaps you wonder why God allowed it. The answer is simple. Though not always easy to embrace, you were built for more. Heavy loads are never placed on weak shoulders. And though you did not feel strong, God saw strength in you long before you did. Think of an olive press. To the naked eye, it looks violent. The crushing, the pressing, the grinding. But the pressing releases the oil. Without the weight, there is no flow. Without the pressure, there is no anointing. That is why your struggle has been so heavy. Heaven has been extracting oil from your life, preparing you to carry what others could not. Do not despise the seasons that broke you. They did not come to destroy you. They came to reveal you. You will look back and realize that the weight you carried was not a punishment, but a preparation. What felt like chains were actually chisels, carving out capacity within you. And now, you stand on the edge of a shift. The heaviness you once cursed is about to be revealed as the foundation for your breakthrough. You will see how every sleepless night, every unanswered question, every heavy load has positioned you for the glory about to be unveiled. Chosen one. The weight you carried is the very evidence of why you were chosen. Others may not understand it, but heaven has written it in your story. The burden is turning into blessing. The pressure is transforming into purpose. And the very thing that almost broke you will become the testimony that marks you. Chosen one. Many have misunderstood you. They judged your silence as weakness, your isolation as failure, your difference as strangeness. But what they could not see was that you were never meant to blend in. You carry a seal that marks you as chosen, and that mark will always make you stand out. There were times you longed to be accepted, times you asked, "Why can't I just be like everyone else?" Yet deep within, you knew blending in was not your destiny. Rejection was not proof that you were unworthy, it was proof that you were set apart. When others walked away, heaven was clearing space. When doors slammed shut, heaven was redirecting your steps. Imagine a rare gem buried deep underground. At first, it looks like any other stone, dirty, unremarkable, overlooked. But when placed under a craftsman's hand, the cutting begins. The chisel strikes, the edges are shaped, and soon the gem reflects a brilliance unlike anything else. That is you. You were hidden because heaven was preparing you. And the cutting, though painful, is the process of your revealing. There was another chosen one who walked this road. They were misunderstood by friends, doubted by family, even accused by those who once admired them. But years later, the same voices that mocked were the voices asking, "How did you endure? How did you rise?" The very rejection that once hurt them became the testimony that inspired others. That same story is written into your destiny. As the Apostle reminds us in his letter to the Corinthians, chapter 1, verse 27, God chose the foolish things of the world to shame the wise. God chose the weak things of the world to shame the strong. 1. Chosen one. This is why you never fit in. Heaven deliberately set you apart so that when your breakthrough comes, no one can credit human approval or earthly connections. It will be undeniable that it was God's doing. Think of a lighthouse on a cliff. It doesn't blend with the night. It doesn't apologize for its brightness. It was built to stand alone, to shine when everything else is dark. That's you. Your difference is your assignment. Your uniqueness is your weapon. Now, I call you to respond with faith. Type these words in the comments. Marked by God. This is more than a sentence. It is a declaration. You are affirming that your difference is not a curse, but a divine signature. You are reminding your heart, your future, and even the unseen realm that you were not set apart by accident. You are chosen, sealed, and marked for purpose. When you declare, marked by God, you agree with heaven's identity over your life. You silence the lies of rejection, and you embrace the truth that the seal upon you is not shame but glory. Expanding this even deeper by writing, marked by God, you are shifting your perspective. You are refusing to see yourself through the lens of rejection or failure, and instead, you are wearing the truth of heaven like a crown. It tells your past. You don't define me. It tells your present. I am chosen for now, and it tells your future. I will walk boldly into my calling. It is not just a phrase, it is a banner of identity. A line drawn in the spirit, declaring you belong fully to Him. Chosen one. Your light has never gone unnoticed. Even when you tried to shrink, even when you attempted to blend into the background, your presence disrupted darkness. It was not because you were trying to stand out, it was because you carry something that cannot be hidden. Darkness recognizes what heaven places within a soul, and that recognition stirs resistance. You may not have realized it, but every room you walked into shifted when you arrived. The atmosphere changed, conversations softened, hidden motifs trembled, not because of you in the natural, but because of the spiritual weight you carry. Your very existence is a contradiction to darkness. Where you go, light follows, and where light shines, shadows must flee. Think of a candle lit in a cave. Even in a vast chamber of stone and silence, one flame is enough to push back layers of suffocating darkness. It does not need to scream. It does not need to fight. It simply burns. That is you. Your calling is not always about shouting louder or forcing recognition. Sometimes it is about simply being who God made you to be, and letting His light through you terrify what tries to remain hidden. There was once a chosen one who lived much of their life unseen by people, quiet, consistent, faithful in small tasks. Yet everywhere they went, darkness stirred, co-workers whispered, family grew uncomfortable, even strangers reacted with hostility for no clear reason. For a long time, they questioned themselves. Why am I always the target? Why do people reject me so quickly? But over time, they realized it was not rejection of them, it was resistance to the light they carried. When that truth settled in, they stopped apologizing for their brightness and began walking boldly, knowing their presence was divine disruption. According to what is revealed in the Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 5, the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. This scripture is not just history, it is your present reality. The light in you is not fragile. It is not seasonal. It is not conditional. Darkness may rise, but it cannot prevail. Opposition may come, but it cannot extinguish what God Himself ignited. Chosen one, understand this. The resistance you face is confirmation of your assignment. If darkness is unsettled by you, it means you are walking in the very place heaven has called you to. The enemy does not waste energy on what is irrelevant. The very intensity of the attacks against you is evidence of the magnitude of what you carry. Consider a thunderstorm trying to cover the sky. For a moment, clouds roll in, rain falls, and winds rage. Yet behind it all, the sun has not moved. It still shines, untouched, unthreatened, unchanging. Eventually, the storm passes, and the sun reclaims the horizon. You are that light. The storms that have tried to hide you cannot undo what God has placed within you. So stop apologizing for the fire you carry. Stop doubting the radiance of your calling. Walk into rooms with the awareness that your very presence shifts atmospheres. You are light. You are chosen. And no amount of darkness can rewrite that truth. And when you finally accept this, the battle shifts. What once intimidated you will bow. What once resisted will scatter, because light has always been destined to rule over darkness. Chosen one, hear this truth. Mercy still covers you. The world may have seen your mistakes, your stumbles, your broken attempts at moving forward. But heaven never withdrew its hand. Grace has stood as a shield, and mercy has kept you when judgment could have crushed you. There are moments in life when shame whispers, "It is over for you." Yet, the fact that you are still breathing, still standing, still here to receive this word is proof that mercy has not abandoned you. God's patience has been your hidden safety, and His mercy has been your unseen shelter. Think of a tree in the middle of a drought. Leaves wither, branch dry. The ground cracks beneath it. To any onlooker, the tree seems finished. But deep beneath the surface, roots are still drawing hidden water. Life continues, unseen, waiting for the right season to bloom again. That tree is you. What looked like your end was only a pause. What looked like barrenness was only preparation. Mercy was feeding your roots in silence, keeping you alive for the season of flourishing that is about to arrive. A chosen one once carried this same story. They thought their failure had cancelled their calling. They believed one wrong turn had destroyed their destiny. For years, they walked with the weight of regret. But when mercy met them, it was like dawn breaking after the longest night. Grace rewrote their story. Their past was not erased, it was transformed. And what was once a mark of shame became the platform from which they lifted others into hope. The ancient words recorded in the Book of Lamentations, chapter 3, verse 22, remind us, because of the Lord's great love, we are not consumed, for his compassions never fail. Chosen one, this is why you are still standing. Mercy did not let you be consumed. Compassion did not let your story end. Where condemnation wanted to silence you, God's kindness kept you breathing. Consider the image of a broken pot, mended with threads of gold. Ayapanese art called kintsugi. What once was fractured becomes more valuable because of its repair. That is what mercy does. It does not erase your cracks. It fills them with glory. It does not hide your story. It transforms it into beauty. The scars you carry will not shame you. They will shine. Now pause and reflect. How many times has mercy lifted you when you should have fallen? How many times has grace whispered hope when despair tried to drown you? This is not coincidence. This is God guiding you with love too deep to measure and hear. Chosen one, I will not command you, but I will extend an invitation. Mercy is like a flame. It is not meant to stay hidden in one lamp, but to spread from light to light. If this word has warmed your spirit, then let its glow reach beyond you. Share this word as though you were passing a torch into someone else's night. Like this message, as if you were adding oil to the flame, making it burn brighter. Subscribe as a way of keeping the fire alive within you, so that together we become a constellation, lights that darkness cannot silence. Not because you were told to, not because you were pressured, but because your heart knows mercy is too beautiful to keep to yourself. Mercy still covers you. Chosen one, and that mercy is guiding you, not only to your breakthrough, but also into becoming a living testimony that others may follow. Chosen one, do not mistake waiting for abandonment. Delay is not denial. Heaven has been orchestrating details in silence, aligning pieces you could not see. While you thought nothing was happening, God was weaving threads behind the curtain, preparing a breakthrough so complete that when it arrives, you will say, it was worth the wait. End of seasons of waiting are some of the hardest journeys. A chosen one must walk. You pray and hear only silence. You look for doors and see only walls. You wonder if heaven has overlooked your petitions. Yet, even in the silence, God is speaking. Even in the pause, God is working. Imagine a seed buried in the ground. To the eye above the soil, it appears gone, lifeless, even forgotten. But in the hidden dark, it is breaking open, roots pushing downward, life pressing upward. Delay is not death. Delay is development. What looks like stillness is the slow miracle of transformation. That seed is you. There was once a chosen one who grew weary of the waiting. They compared their life to others, moving ahead, friends advancing, neighbors prospering, colleagues being recognized. It felt as if they had been left behind. Yet, in time, they discovered that heaven had not delayed them out of neglect, but out of protection. The door they longed for earlier would have crushed them had it opened too soon. When it finally opened in God's timing, they were ready to walk through it and carry the blessing without breaking under its weight. According to what is written in the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 3, "For the revelation awaits an appointed time. It speaks of the end and will not prove false. Though it lingers, wait for it. It will certainly come and will not delay. This is the promise. Though the vision tarries, it will come. Though the waiting feels endless, God's appointed time is never late. The hand that formed galaxies is the same hand guiding your timeline. You are not forgotten. You are being aligned. Chosen one. Patience is not punishment. It is training. Waiting teaches you to trust God more than results, to lean on His presence rather than your performance, to rest in His word rather than the applause of people. Delay shapes character in ways speed never could, and the character forged in the waiting is the very foundation upon which God builds breakthrough. Think of the blacksmith shaping iron. He does not hand the weapon to the warrior the moment it touches the fire. No, he beats it, bends it, plunges it into water, and returns it to the flame again and again. Why? Because it must be strong enough to withstand the battle ahead. That is what waiting has been doing in your life. It has been forging you for the weight of glory you are about to carry. So do not despise the pauses. Do not curse the silence. God has been using the waiting to make you ready for what your spirit has longed for. And when the appointed time comes, it will not be a small shift. It will be the kind of breakthrough that redeems every moment of waiting. Chosen one. If this word resonates with your spirit, I invite you into a prophetic response. In the comments, type the number 818. This number carries the echo of new beginnings, wrapped in completion, the closing of an old chapter and the rising of a new one. By writing it, you are declaring, I embrace heaven's order. I trust the divine timing, and I step into the new season prepared for me. Oh, your comment becomes more than digits. It becomes a banner of faith, a marker that you are not discouraged by the wait, but strengthened by it. Chosen one. Silence has been one of the enemy's favorite weapons against you. He has tried to press your spirit down, to convince you that your voice has no value, that your testimony is too small to matter, that your prayers disappear into empty air. Yet the truth is this: heaven treasures your voice, and hell trembles every time you speak in faith. There were moments when you thought, why should I keep praying? Nothing changes. There were nights when you whispered to God in weakness and felt no reply. Yet in those moments, your words were not wasted. They rose like incense before the throne, filling bowls in heaven that are never left unattended. One day, those bowls tip, and the very prayers you thought were forgotten pour back into your life as answered breakthroughs. Imagine a well dug deep into the ground. At first, it looks like only dirt and dust. Nothing refreshing, nothing hopeful. But the deeper you dig, the closer you come to water. Every strike of the shovel, though it feels repetitive and unseen, is progress. And when the spring is finally pierced, the flow cannot be stopped. That is your voice in prayer. Every word spoken in faith, no matter how small, has been digging into the unseen, preparing a flow that will one day burst forth. A chosen one once lived through years of spiritual silence. They spoke, but heard no answer. They sang, but felt no presence. They nearly stopped, believing heaven had closed its ears. But one night, when they were at their lowest, a small breakthrough came, a prayer answered in a way so precise, so undeniable, that it reignited their faith. From then on, they understood silence is not absence. Silence is often strategy. Heaven delays the echo, not because it has ignored you, but because it is preparing to respond in a way that overwhelms you. We are reminded in the book of Psalms, chapter 34, verse 17, the righteous cry out, and the Lord hears them. He delivers them from all their troubles. One, chosen one. Heaven has heard every cry. None of your words have vanished into the air. Even when no human ear listened, even when no friend cared enough to stay awake with you, God Himself leaned close. The silence you felt was not His distance, it was His preparation. Consider the image of a violin string being tightened. To the ear, it may sound like tension, even discomfort, but to the musician, it is necessary. Without the stretching, no music can be made. Your voice has been under tension. Yes, but that tension is tuning you for a sound that will release freedom, not just for yourself, but for those connected to you. The enemy feared your testimony. That is why he tried to silence you. But your story carries power to unlock hope in others. Your voice carries weight to dismantle lies. Your words, even spoken in weakness, carry eternal significance when they align with the heart of God. Chosen one, never underestimate the authority in your voice. It is not about volume. It is not about eloquence. It is about faith. And when faith shapes your words, heaven moves. So rise again in courage. Let your prayers flow even when you feel nothing. Let your testimony be spoken even when it shakes. For silence was never your end. Heaven has guarded your voice. And soon, what you have spoken in secret will be echoed with breakthrough in the open. Chosen one, you are not walking alone, even when your eyes have seen only emptiness, when your heart has felt isolated, and when your mind has whispered that no one understands. Heaven has already assigned help on your behalf. You are surrounded by more than what is visible. There are unseen forces, angelic hosts, positioned to guard, guide, and fight for you. Their presence does not always shout. Often, it is quiet, like the invisible hand that prevents you from taking the wrong step, the unseen shield that blocks what should have destroyed you, the whisper of peace that steadies your spirit when fear tries to rise. Think of the air you breathe. You cannot see it, but you know it is there because it sustains you. In the same way, angelic help is nearer than your sight. Though hidden from your natural vision, it is real, it is present, it is assigned to you. There was once a chosen one who walked through danger unknowingly. A car accident nearly took their life. Yet, at the last second, the vehicle swerved, and they survived without explanation. Later, as they looked back, they realized what logic could not explain. Heaven's warriors had intervened. Their testimony became a living picture of the truth that no weapon formed against you can prosper when angelic protection surrounds you. We find this assurance in the book of Psalms, chapter 91, verse 11. For he will command his angels concerning you to guard you in all your ways. Chosen one. This is not poetry, it is reality. God commands, and angels move. He speaks, and they obey. Their assignment is not random, it is specific. Their watch over you is not casual, it is divine order. Picture a great fortress at night. Within its walls, torches burn. Soldiers keep watch. Gates are locked, and unseen eyes guard every angle. Those inside may sleep peacefully, unaware of the vigilance around them. That is your life. You may not see the protection, but heaven has stationed its watchmen. You are not defenseless. You are guarded, and beyond protection. Angels are also messengers. They carry strength in your weary moments, guidance when you are uncertain, clarity when confusion presses in, the whisper you once felt, urging you not to take that step, encouraging you to wait one more day, reminding you of God's promise that was more than your thoughts. It was divine help brushing against your spirit. Chosen one. Let this truth settle in you. Your fight has never been yours alone. The battles you thought you were losing, you never fought by yourself. When you prayed and felt no change, angels were already moving. When you cried and thought no one heard, heaven had already dispatched help. Think also of a storm at sea. A small boat is tossed, waves crash, winds roar. To the sailor, it feels hopeless. Yet above, unseen to them, a lighthouse beams across the dark, guiding them toward shore. In the same way, angelic presence is that guiding light, silent, steady, pulling you toward safety even when chaos surrounds. Chosen one. If you only knew how many accidents were diverted, how many traps dismantled, how many attacks failed because angels stood in the gap for you, you would never again doubt that you are precious to heaven. You are not uncovered. You are not abandoned. Invisible help is already active, and as long as heaven has spoken over your life, angelic hosts will not fail their assignment. Walk forward with courage, for unseen hands are guiding your steps into breakthrough. Chosen one. The crossroads of obedience is where destiny is either unlocked or delayed. Every breakthrough that heaven has prepared for you does not rest only in promise, it also rests in response. God does not force the door open, He invites you to step through it. There were times in your journey when surrender felt costly. You wrestled with decisions in silence, torn between what was convenient and what was holy. You knew the right choice, but fear whispered another path. Still, even in your hesitation, heaven waited with patience. Because your breakthrough is not just about what you receive, it is about who you become in the process. Think of a bridge suspended over a deep canyon. It looks fragile at first glance, swaying in the wind, uncertain beneath the weight of steps. Yet, the only way across is to trust it enough to move forward. Obedience often feels like that. It may seem risky, but it is the very path to safety and promise. A chosen one once faced such a decision. God called them to let go of a relationship that was draining their spirit. Fear told them, "You will end up alone. You will lose too much." But when they obeyed, though the pain was real, peace soon followed. That obedience opened space for new connections, opportunities, and strength they never could have imagined. What seemed like loss became the doorway to abundance, as spoken in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 30, verse 19. I have set before you life and death, blessings and curses. Now choose life, so that you and your children may live. Obedience is not a prison, it is a path. When God asks you to release, it is never to rob you, but to position you. When He calls you to step out, it is not to expose you, but to carry you. Every instruction is an invitation into more freedom, more clarity, more blessing. Consider the image of a compass in a traveler's hand. The road may look uncertain, but the needle always points north. It does not shout, it simply points. Obedience is that compass. It may not tell you every detail of the journey, but it keeps you aligned with heaven's true direction. Chosen one. Breakthrough waits on the other side of surrender. The enemy wants to convince you that rebellion is freedom, but rebellion only leads to blindness. Heaven whispers, choose life, choose obedience. For each act of obedience unlocks something that disobedience would keep hidden. Now I call you to a simple but powerful declaration. In the comments, type these words, lead me, Lord. This is not just a phrase, it is an act of surrender. By writing it, you are placing the map back into God's hands, trusting that His direction is better than your own understanding. When you declare, lead me, Lord, you silence the noise of doubt and the pressure of control. You remind your spirit that obedience is not about losing freedom, but about finding true guidance. It is a short prayer, but it carries the weight of destiny, opening the path that only heaven can reveal. And remember this, every yes you give to God is a seed. It may feel small at first. It may not look like much, but planted in obedience, that seed carries the power to become a harvest greater than you imagined. So when you type, lead me, Lord, you are not just commenting, you are planting. You are sowing faith into the soil of your future, trusting that God's direction will always lead you to the fullness of your breakthrough. Chosen one. Your prophetic crown is not lost. It has not been forgotten, misplaced, or handed to another. It has been waiting reserved for you in heaven's treasury, hidden until the right moment. Every battle, every rejection, every tear has not stolen your crown. They have only shaped you to wear it with the authority God intended. At times, you have felt like the crown was slipping away. You wondered if your mistakes disqualified you, if your delays erased your promise. But listen, what God has spoken over your life is irrevocable. The crown has your name engraved upon it, and no hand can claim it but yours. Think of a crown forged in fire. Gold must first pass through heat. Gems must be cut from raw stone, and delicate designs are hammered by a craftsman's hand. The process looks harsh, but the result is beauty and strength. That is your journey. The fire has been real. The cutting has been sharp, but it has all been forming a crown fit for your head. A chosen one once doubted this truth. They believed the promise of God had expired over their life, but years later, the fulfillment came, not diminished, but greater than they had imagined. Their waiting did not cancel their crown, it preserved it. The same is true for you. What seems delayed is being perfected, as revealed in the first letter to the Corinthians, chapter 9, verse 25. Everyone who competes in the games goes into strict training. They do it to get a crown that will not last. But we do it to get a crown that will last forever. This crown is not temporary. It is not like earthly honors that fade with time or titles that lose meaning. This is an eternal crown. Proof that your perseverance and faith have not been wasted. Every trial you endured was not without purpose. It was training. Every sacrifice was not without return. It was investment. Consider a lighthouse lamp. It is polished, trimmed, and fueled long before it shines on the open sea. In the same way, your crown is being prepared behind the scenes, unseen by others, but destined to shine in the open. Or imagine a vineyard. Vines are pruned, branches cut, fruit delayed. Yet when the season arrives, the wine produced is richer because of the pruning. That is how God has been preparing you to carry glory without breaking, to walk in authority without pride, to shine without burning out. Chosen one, your prophetic crown is not far, it is near. And as you hear these words, heaven is reminding you, you are not forgotten, you are not forsaken, you are not crownless. And here, I offer an invitation, not a demand. If these words have stirred hope within you, let your agreement flow naturally. Like this message, if it feels like oil on your spirit, confirming that the crown is still yours. Share it if you sense others need to be reminded that their crown is not gone. Subscribe as a way of walking alongside this journey, staying connected to the stream of words that water your faith, not because you must, but because your spirit recognizes beauty when it hears it. This act is not obligation, it is worship. It is the gentle lifting of your hand, saying, "Yes, I will walk toward the crown waiting for me." And remember, crowns are not placed in hands that cling to fear. They rest upon heads lifted in faith. Lift your head. Chosen one, your prophetic crown awaits, and it shines brighter than the darkness ever dared to be. Chosen one, hear this with certainty. Every weapon raised against you has already failed. Though you have felt its sting, though you have seen its shadow, none of it has carried the final word. The verdict was decided long before the attack began. Heaven has already decreed your protection. At times, it seemed like the words spoken against you had power. Lies twisted your reputation. Whispers poisoned the minds of others. Accusations cut deep into your spirit. And yet, though they struck, they could not destroy you. The fact that you are still standing is evidence. No weapon formed against you prospers. Imagine an arrow shot toward a shield of steel. It may strike, it may sound, it may leave a mark, but it cannot pierce through. That shield has been God's covering over your life. The enemy may launch his arrows, but the impact stops at the surface. What the enemy designed to kill has only proved the strength of your defender. There was once a chosen one who faced an unrelenting storm of opposition. People turned cold. Plan collapsed. And every step forward seemed to trigger another strike. Yet somehow, they endured. Looking back, they realized it was not their own wisdom that carried them, but the hand of God intercepting every scheme. The attacks were real, but the protection was greater. That same covering is over you. The Word of God declares in the book of Isaiah, chapter 54, verse 17, "No weapon forged against you will prevail, and you will refute every tongue that accuses you. This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord, and this is their vindication from me, declares the Lord." End quote. Chosen one. This scripture is not an idea, it is a covenant. God Himself has declared your vindication. What rises against you must fall. What is spoken against you will be silenced. This is your inheritance, not because of your strength, but because of His promise. Think of a fire set against a river. Flames may roar, smoke may rise, but the water overwhelms it. No matter how fierce the blaze, the river always wins. That is how God's protection moves. It extinguishes every weapon before it can consume you. Or picture a courtroom where the enemy stands accusing, bringing lists of your failures, trying to disqualify you. But before he finishes, the judge raises his hand and declares, "Case dismissed." That is your vindication. The blood of Jesus speaks louder than every accusation. Chosen one. The warfare you faced was not a sign of weakness, it was proof of your assignment. The enemy does not waste his weapons on what does not matter. The intensity of the attacks is evidence of the weight of your calling. But remember, their failure is guaranteed. Their end was written before their beginning. You are not fragile. You are not defenseless. Heaven has already surrounded you with a covering stronger than steel, deeper than oceans, wider than the sky. You may feel the wind of the weapon, but you will not be pierced. You may hear the sound of accusation, but you will not be condemned. Walk forward with confidence. Let peace guard your steps, knowing that the battles around you cannot steal the promise within you. You do not have to retaliate or prove yourself. The Lord Himself is your vindication. Chosen one. Every weapon has already failed. Every tongue has already been silenced. Your inheritance is safety. Your destiny is secured. And your path is shielded by the unshakable word of God. Chosen one. You have walked through brokenness. Your heart has known fracture. Your spirit has tasted sorrow. And your soul has carried scars that seemed too deep to heal. Yet, hear me clearly, what once broke you will not define you. God is transforming your brokenness into boldness, your pain into power, your wounds into weapons of testimony. You may have asked, why did this happen to me? The betrayals, the disappointments, the losses, each one felt like pieces of your life being shattered. Yet heaven saw something greater. Broken pieces in the hands of man become waste. But broken pieces in the hands of God become mosaics of glory. Picture a stained glass window. To the eye of the unskilled, it is just shards of colored glass, sharp and useless. But in the hands of the master artist, those same shards become a masterpiece. Light shining through them in colors too beautiful to describe. That is your story. The parts of your life that looked shattered are about to become the very fragments through which God's light shines most brightly. There was once a chosen one who lived with the sting of shame for years. They avoided people, buried their gifts, and wore silence as armor. But when they finally surrendered the brokenness to God, it was transformed. What once silenced them became the very testimony that gave them courage to speak. And their boldness lifted many others who were still trapped in their own brokenness, as Jesus Himself declared in the Gospel of John, chapter 16, verse 20, "You will grieve, but your grief will turn to joy." End 1. This is the promise that frames your journey. Grief was never meant to be your final chapter. Brokenness was never meant to be your permanent identity. God is turning what once weighed you down into the very wings that will lift you higher. Think also of a blacksmith's forge. A sword is shaped by hammer blows, each strike seemingly violent, each impact ringing loud. Yet the result is not destruction, it is strength. Your trials have been hammer strikes, but they were never meant to destroy you. They were forging you into boldness, preparing you to carry authority in ways comfort never could. Chosen one, your voice is needed. The very place you once thought disqualified you is the place God will use most powerfully. Your brokenness has given you compassion. Your scars have given you credibility. Your wounds have given you wisdom. All of these are now being transformed into boldness that darkness cannot silence. So let your spirit rise. Lift your head again. Do not hide the cracks. Let them testify. Do not silence your story. Let it roar. For heaven has declared over you, the season of shame is ending, and the season of courage is here. And now, to seal this truth, I invite you into a prophetic act. In the comments, type the number 919. This number is a prophetic sign of endings and beginnings. 9 speaks of completion. The 1st of December layers a new start. And 9 affirms, the cycle is finished in fullness. By writing it, you are declaring, my old chapter is closed. My brokenness is redeemed. And I step boldly into my new beginning. It is not just digits on a screen. It is a banner over your life. A declaration that the pain of yesterday has no power over the courage of today. Chosen one. Can you sense it? There is a sound rising in the spirit. A sound that carries breakthrough. What was locked for so long is opening. What felt silent for years is beginning to echo. Breakthrough is not only seen, it is heard first. Like the distant rumble of thunder before the rain arrives. You may have felt like nothing was moving. Days blended into weeks. Weeks into months. And the silence pressed down heavy. But in heaven's timing, change begins with a sound, a whisper in your heart, a shift in your atmosphere, an unexpected confirmation that tells you the breakthrough is on its way. Think of a river frozen in winter. For months, it looks lifeless, sealed in silence, nothing flowing beneath the ice. But when the appointed season comes, cracks form, first a drip, then a trickle, then a roar of water rushing free. That is breakthrough. It begins quietly, then suddenly becomes unstoppable. A chosen one once lived in such a season. They prayed faithfully. Though their prayers felt unanswered, they obeyed. Though obedience seemed unseen. And then, one ordinary morning, everything changed. A phone call came. A door opened. A long-awaited opportunity appeared. It was not random. It was the sound of breakthrough that had been building behind the curtain of silence. We are reminded in the book of 2 Samuel, chapter 5, verse 20. So David went to Baal Perazim, and there he defeated them. He said, as waters break out, the Lord has broken out against my enemies before me. And breakthrough is not just progress, it is the force of God breaking through barriers that human effort could never move. Like waters bursting through a dam, it is sudden, unstoppable, undeniable. Consider the image of a woman in labor, hours of pain, groaning, silence from heaven. Yet the cries are not signs of death, but signs of life about to emerge. The moment of greatest pressure, is the moment just before the new is born. That is why your hardest battles came when you were closest to breakthrough. Or imagine the shofar, the ram's horn, blown before battle in ancient Israel. Its sound was not decoration, it was declaration. It announced that heaven was moving, that God himself was going before his people. In the same way, the sound of breakthrough in your life is heaven's announcement that walls are falling and doors are opening. Chosen one, don't despise the small sounds, the whisper of peace in your chaos, the small opportunity that doesn't seem like much, the encouragement that arrives when you were ready to give up. These are signs. The sound of breakthrough often begins small, but it carries the full weight of heaven's promise. You may not yet see the evidence with your eyes, but your spirit can hear it. The sound of chains loosening, the sound of walls crumbling, the sound of waters rushing. These sounds are heaven's assurance that what has been held back is about to be released. Chosen one, lift your expectation. Your breakthrough is not a distant dream. It is already moving toward you. Let the sound stir your faith. Let it awaken your hope. For soon, what you have been hearing in the Spirit will manifest in the natural, and you will stand in the place of answered prayers. The sound of breakthrough is not coming, it is already here. Chosen one. Glory is not found only after the battle ends. It is revealed in the midst of the struggle. The very places where you felt weakest are the places heaven has marked to display its strength. What seemed like survival was always more than that. It was preparation to shine. There have been nights when you wondered, why is this happening to me? Why so much resistance? Why so much pain? Yet what you could not see was the divine exchange happening in the unseen. Every tear shed was a seed. Every trial endured was a furnace. And from that furnace, glory emerges, not ashes, but fire refined. Think of gold being purified. It is placed into fire, not to destroy it, but to reveal its brilliance. Impurities rise to the surface. Dross is removed. And what remains is treasure. That is your life. The flames that once felt unbearable have been refining you, stripping away what cannot last, and revealing the eternal within you. There was once a chosen one who walked through relentless storms. Friends abandoned them. Opportunities closed. And even their own hearts struggled to keep faith alive. But when the dust of the battle settled, people looked at them in awe, saying, "How are you still standing? How do you still carry peace?" They realized then that it was not their own strength that held them, but the glory of God shining through their scars. The Apostle Paul reminds us in the second letter to the Corinthians, chapter 4, verse 17, "For our light and momentary troubles are achieving for us an eternal glory that far outweighs them all." Then, your battle is not meaningless. Your scars are not wasted. They are carrying within them a weight of glory beyond anything this world can measure. What you are walking through now will become a testimony that lights the path for others. Consider a torch carried through darkness. Its fire may flicker in the wind, but it never goes out. Instead, the darker the night, the brighter its flame appears. You are that torch. The more darkness surrounds you, the more heaven's glory radiates through you. Or picture a cracked jar with a lamp inside. In the light of day, the cracks may seem like flaws, but in the night, those cracks are the very places the light escapes, filling the room with beauty. Your brokenness is not a curse. It is the very opening through which glory shines. Chosen one. The battle you are in is not simply about you. It is about the generations connected to you, the people watching you, the lives you will impact through your endurance. Your perseverance is painting hope in someone else's midnight. Your scars are becoming maps that guide others out of their own valleys. And though you may not feel it now, glory is already resting upon you. It is in the way you rise when you want to stay down. It is in the peace you carry when storms rage. It is in the resilience of your spirit that refuses to quit. Glory in the battle does not mean the absence of pain. It means the presence of purpose. And when you finally step out of this season, you will not look like what you went through. You will shine brighter, stronger, and more radiant, carrying the evidence that heaven's glory rests upon your life. Chosen one. This is the hour to rise as a torchbearer. You were never called to blend in with the shadows or silence your flame. You carry a fire that does not belong to you alone. It was entrusted to you so that others in darkness might find their way. For so long, you have been tested in obscurity. Your fire flickered against winds of doubt, and storms tried to quench your glow. Yet each time, the flame returned stronger. Why? Because it was not built by human hands. This fire was lit by heaven itself, and no storm has power to extinguish what God has ignited. Think of a lantern carried through an ancient city at night. Streets were dim, paths unclear, but the lantern-bearer walked with quiet confidence, knowing that each step was secured by the glow they carried. Others, lost in shadow, drew near to the light, finding courage to walk again. That is your life. Your presence alone becomes direction for the weary, courage for the hopeless, and a signpost of hope for those who feel forgotten. There was once a chosen one who doubted this role. They thought, "Who am I to shine? I am too broken, too ordinary." But with time, they realized that the flame inside them was never theirs to begin with. It was the Spirit's flame, and it had been given not because of their perfection, but because of God's purpose. From then on, they stopped hiding and began walking boldly, allowing their fire to spread into others. According to what is written in the book of Proverbs, chapter 4, verse 18, the path of the righteous is like the morning sun, shining ever brighter till the full light of day. Chosen one. Your journey is not dimming, it is brightening. Each step forward is not fading, it is intensifying. The light you carry is meant to grow, to strengthen, to shine more clearly with each passing moment. Consider also a single candle in a cathedral, alone. It seems small, yet when it is placed alongside hundreds of others, the entire building glows, shadows retreat, and beauty emerges. That is why your flame matters. It is not only for you, but to join with others, creating a blaze that cannot be ignored. And now, I extend a gentle invitation. If these words echo within your soul, then let your flame signal outward, like this message, as if you were adding oil to the lamp, ensuring that your fire burns brighter. Share it as though you were passing your torch into another hand that has been wandering in the dark too long. Subscribe as a way of saying, I will keep walking with the flame, and I will not let it die. And there is more. Take a step of faith in declaration. In the comments, type these words, I carry fire. It is not a boast, but a confession. It is you acknowledging that the flame in you is real. It is alive, and it is meant to guide others. When you write, I carry fire, You are not just leaving text, you are planting truth. You are declaring that you will not shrink back. You will not apologize for your glow, and you will not let fear dim what God Himself has lit. Chosen one, rise as a torchbearer. Walk boldly with the fire, and let that flame remind the world that no matter how dark the night may be, light always wins. Chosen one, there is a shift taking place. You are entering not just a moment of change, but a season of establishment. The years of wandering, of uncertainty, of feeling unrooted and displaced are coming to an end. God is planting you firmly, building your foundation, and securing your steps. For too long, it felt like your life was a tent, easily moved, shaken by every storm, carried by every wind. You longed for stability, for something solid to stand on. Heaven has heard that cry. What once felt temporary is becoming permanent. What once seemed fragile is being made unshakable. Think of a tree in its early years. Its roots are shallow, its trunk thin, its branches easily bent by the breeze. But as time passes, roots grow deeper, reaching into hidden reservoirs. The trunk thickens, branches spread, and soon, storms that once bent it barely move it. That is your journey. You are being rooted so deeply in God that no storm will uproot you. A chosen one once lived through seasons of constant change. They moved from place to place, job to job, always uncertain of where they belonged. But in time, God brought them into a place of establishment. Opportunities stabilized, relationships deepened, and for the first time in years, they felt grounded. It wasn't random, it was God fulfilling His promise, I will settle you. That same promise rests upon you. The prophet Isaiah declared in chapter 61, verse 3, they will be called oaks of righteousness, a planting of the Lord for the display of His splendor. Chosen one, you are not a fragile weed. You are an oak planted by the Lord Himself. Oaks do not grow overnight. They take years to form strength. But once they are established, they stand for centuries, becoming landmarks of stability. That is what heaven is forming in you. Consider the building of a cathedral. For years, workers labor on the foundation, often hidden underground. Outsiders pass by and see no progress, wondering if the vision has stalled. But when the foundation is secure, the structure rises quickly, reaching heights that astonish everyone. That is why your foundation season felt long. It was necessary for what God is about to build upon your life. Or imagine a stone set into a wall, alone. It may feel small, but once it is cemented in place, it becomes part of a fortress that no enemy can breach. You are being set, not randomly, but precisely into the place designed for you. Chosen one. Establishment does not mean ease, it means strength. You will still face winds, but you will not be moved. You will still see storms, but you will not be shaken. The ground beneath you is being secured by God Himself, and His establishment is eternal. Your wandering has taught you empathy. Your instability has prepared you to value stability. And now, as God anchors you, you will carry peace not only for yourself, but also for those who are still drifting. You will become a pillar, a shelter, a steady presence that others can lean on. This is your season of establishment. No longer drifting, no longer shaken, no longer uncertain. You are planted by the Lord, strengthened by his hand, and secured in his promise. Chosen one, stand tall. You are becoming the oak of righteousness, the living display of his splendor. And nothing in this world will uproot what God has established in you. Chosen one, divine help has never been absent from your journey. From the very beginning, God's hand has guided you, even in the places where you thought you walked alone. Now, as you step into the fulfillment of your breakthrough, that help is being unveiled more clearly than ever before. There were nights when you whispered, "Lord, I cannot do this anymore." You thought your strength was gone, your hope drained. Yet somehow, morning came, and you rose again. That was not coincidence, that was divine help carrying you. Think of a traveler lost in a desert, their lips dry, their body weary, their steps failing. Just as collapse seems inevitable, an oasis appears, not a mirage, but real water, real shade, real life. That is what God has been for you. Not imaginary comfort, but real intervention, arriving precisely when you thought all was lost. There was once a chosen one who nearly gave up on their calling. The weight was too much, the path too unclear. But one small act of divine help shifted everything. A friend called at the right time. A scripture leapt from the page. A door opened unexpectedly. Later, they realized those small things were not small at all. They were God's fingerprints, guiding and sustaining them. The same is true for you. As revealed in the book of Hebrews, chapter 13, verse 6, so we say with confidence, "The Lord is my helper, I will not be afraid. What can mere mortals do to me?" Chosen one, you are not without help. The Lord himself is your helper. Human hands may fail you, but his hand will not. Human words may fall short, but his word sustains. Human strength may falter, but his strength renews you day by day. Consider the image of a climber scaling a mountain. The ascent is steep, the air thin, the danger real, but tied to them is a rope secured above, held firm by one who has already reached the summit. Even if their grip slips, the rope holds. That rope is God's help in your life. Your hands may falter, but his hold never fails. Or picture a child learning to walk. Their steps wobble, their balance fails, but a parent's arms are always near. Sometimes the child falls, yet the parent never lets them fall too far, never allows the stumble to become destruction. This is how God has been with you, letting you grow, but never letting you break. Chosen one, divine help is not only for rescue, it is for victory. God does not simply lift you from the pit, he sets your feet on solid rock. He does not only silence storms, he teaches you how to walk on water. He does not only remove fear, he fills you with courage to face the next battle. And now, as you stand at the edge of fulfillment, hear this clearly. Divine help is not leaving you. Once you receive your breakthrough, it is sealing your future, securing your steps, ensuring that what begins in glory will continue in glory. You will look back one day and realize that every step, every high, every low was marked by his help. And you will say with confidence, truly, I was never alone. Chosen one, your breakthrough is here, and it is sealed by divine help. Walk boldly into the new season, For the Lord your helper has gone before you, Vox beside you, and guards behind you. Nothing can stop what heaven has already secured. Chosen one. We have journeyed together through valleys and mountains, through silence and breakthrough, through fire and glory. And now you stand at the edge of a new chapter. Heaven has whispered over and over, you are not forgotten. You are not abandoned. You are chosen, guided, and crowned. Divine help has been with you from the beginning, and it will carry you into the future that is waiting. Every scar you carry, every tear you have shed, every step that felt heavy, they have all become part of the testimony that marks you as a vessel of light. You are not the same as when you began this journey. You are stronger. You are steadier. You are shining with a fire that cannot be extinguished. Remember, the enemy tried to break you, but instead he revealed the depth of your strength. The storms tried to silence you, but they only amplified your voice. What looked like endings were always new beginnings. And now, your breakthrough is not a distant dream, it is reality, unfolding step by step before your eyes. So here is my final invitation to you. If this message has spoken to your heart, let it not end with silence. Like this word as a way of lifting your flame higher. Share it so another chosen one, wandering in their night, can see the light and find hope again. Subscribe if you sense this journey is one you wish to continue walking together, step by step, word by word, breakthrough by breakthrough. And in the comments, let your spirit declare a sign of faith. Write a single word, like light, hope, or breakthrough, whatever heaven has stirred in your heart tonight. That word becomes more than text. It becomes a prophetic banner over your life. And perhaps the very spark, another chosen one needs to rise again. Chosen one. The journey does not end here. It only begins anew with fire, with glory, with divine help guiding you forward.